Hey you guys, this is J Rose from Truth to Power TV, where knowledge is power, and not only power, knowledge with works is actually power. So anyway, I wanted to kind of get into something that everybody's kind of still talking about. It happened a couple days ago at the BET Awards. It was about Jesse Williams' speech, which I felt, inspiring wasn't even the word for it, but I really felt like he touched on a lot of issues in a very small amount of time. And a lot of people who might have, this is their first time hearing something like this, and you get some parts of it, but you don't get all of it, and what the deeper meaning is behind it, and why this is, liberating for most black people to hear what they already know, and at the same time it's still frightening to, white supremacy, so to speak. And so I kind of feel like a lot of people are happy that he said this. I'm happy that he said this because I feel like it was very ballsy of him to even say something on BET, which is not, as most people know, if you don't already know, that BET is not owned by black people anymore. It's owned by Viacom, which is owned by white Jewish people. So, you know, even though Deborah Lee is the black face of BET, just because she's the CEO of it doesn't mean that she owns it. It just means that she might have some type of stake in it, but she's not, the ultimate decision maker. But back to what I was saying about Jesse Williams, I kind of just feel like a lot of the things that he touched on, whether it be the police brutality, as far as that it was going to be Tamir Rice's 14th birthday, and that it wasn't right for black people to stay, especially in the elite, or not even elite, but the black celebrities or millionaires that have financial influence and social media following, etc. It makes no sense for them to use that, or their talents or their gifts, to be able to continue with the oppression, but at the same time let the greater white society know that because if we're still mourning a would-be 14-year-old boy, if he had lived, because he got basically ran up on and shot by the police without question, then we haven't made progress in this country. And for those people, especially those white people out there who do say that by him talking about race, or by him even having this type of speech, is more so dividing the country and tearing it apart, that is the kind of snake in the grass attitude that perpetuates people to not want to talk about racism. Because just because you talk about something doesn't mean that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that it's going to make it worse. It just means that it's still going to be there, but nobody's going to be talking about it. And I've been hearing a lot of people being upset that the BET Awards came on Viacom. Now, I didn't even get to watch the BET Awards until maybe yesterday evening. I got a chance to watch the BET Awards. And I was at work, so I only got a chance to really see the speech, and I saw Beyonce's performance, which I thought was pretty good. And I kind of felt like I don't understand. I understood as a black person why the greater white society would be upset and understand the speech, because it wasn't necessarily towards them, other than the critique of what we do to resist the oppression. But as far as what he said to black folks, as far as the branding, that's not just to the black celebrities out here that's using their name and their talent to brand themselves. That also goes to the average black person out there that's standing in line for some Jordans or camping out for an iPhone. Like, in the bigger picture, he's saying that black people have a $1 trillion spending power as a group. But we don't own anything. We don't have any wealth. We don't have any institutions that we can say that are our own. And it makes no sense that we are branding ourselves to brands that either really don't want us wearing our clothes, or having what they have or whatever, but they're not doing anything to give back. And it's not charity to give to someone. I mean, it's not charity to invest in someone if it's an institution that's not going to help it's not only going to help the investor, but it's going to help the people at large in the community. And I feel like Jesse Williams hit the nail on the hammer when he was speaking to the branding that we as a black community do when we, put our money into things, because it's not just, it speaks to the fact that black celebrities do need to not do that to themselves, because it's not helping anyone but themselves. And when they know that the greater majority of black people are out here struggling. So I feel like also what Jesse Williams said about white society or white folks using our gifts and our talents and everything that we do that they can't do as well, they use that and they extract it like oil to be able to make themselves richer, but still keep the people who create it poor. And that makes no sense. And so I really hope that a lot of people woke up from what he said, because it's about time in this country that white people really heard out loud what black people feel about the oppression that's been going on. Because it makes no sense that we're living in 2016 where a black child can still get rolled up on and shot in drive-by, no different from a gang drive-by, no questions asked. And society will value the police side, no matter how much sense it doesn't make, over the people who have, as a collective, been saying, not just in the past 10 or 20 or 30 years, for the past 60 plus 100 years, that this has been going on. And everyone else is choosing not to believe it. And for those people out there who are upset that the BET Awards came on Nickelodeon, that is what you get when 6% of your media is owned by, well, not 6%, I'm sorry, when 6 corporations own all of your media. Because Viacom owns BET, it owns MTV, it owns VH1, it owns Nickelodeon, and probably some other ones out there. But the point that I'm trying to make is that white supremacy is never going to end unless we not only have these conversations, but we actually put the work in and do something about it. Otherwise, it's just going to keep running us. Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to keep having this conversation in 30 years. I don't want to be my hair getting old and stuff and gray, and we still having conversations about how come black people can't, make it as a people. And then on top of that, when Jesse Williams says stuff like that, and everyone, especially every black person, a person of color, is agreeing with what he said, back this brother up. Like, if he gets blackballed out of Hollywood, the masses needs to say something about it. If you really feel like it's because of what he said at that BET Awards. And at the same time, don't get tricked by the mainstream media when they try to frame him as a racist or as somebody who's just trying to divide a system, divide America up at a time where we should be coming together. That's bullshit, because America has already been divided, and if people haven't realized that, then they're just living in a bubble. Because whether it's by race or whether it's by class, everybody is divided. And it's sometimes, in order to really get a good sense of self, you need to square off to yourself a little bit and regain your sense of self. And that's what black people really, I feel, kind of need to do. Psychologically, like, we need to kind of go over here for a second, get some knowledge of self, get some knowledge of where we've been, what happened, how is this affecting us today. Then we can come back to the group and, maybe coexist, and maybe better coexist. But until we have this system of it's either the top black people against, not against, but the top black people over here and then all the other black people over here, or you have a system of just the rich up here and the poor up here, and you feel like by talking about it, it's only going to further divide things. I just feel like those people just want to keep the system the way it is. And I just feel like the next generation, is that really what you want to put up with? I mean, if someone's clearly standing up for you, why not back them up? it's no different from when, if you ever been, in grade school and you ever got bullied, you are grateful when if someone stands up for you. But if someone stands up for you, so if they stand up for you, and then something happens with them where they need someone to stand up for them, but you're nowhere to be found, what does that say about you? And that's kind of what I took away from what Jesse Williams was saying about white people who critique how black people resist the oppression that's put upon them. Because first of all, you can't even be on the same frequency with me to even understand the struggle, or to even have an open mind to even want to understand from an outside point of view. So add on to that, you want to be able to, critique how I deal with my oppression on an everyday basis. I mean, I just feel like that's just not their place, and I feel like Jesse Williams was right on point to tell those folks that it's not their place to judge. It's either you're going to take several thousand seats and sit down, and let people who care and really want to do something about it do the work, or you're going to have an open mind and try to understand why this is going on the way it's going on. And I'm glad that he said this at the BET Awards, because number one, people who are not conscious watch the BET Awards. Number two, a lot of those black celebrities who may have been afraid, who may have thought what he was thinking, but because of, again, white supremacy, they couldn't say what they was thinking. All they had to do was just hope somebody came along and said it, who had the balls to say it. And then you have other black people who are completely oblivious, which I was kind of happy that Floyd Mayweather was in the audience, because some people like him, he needs to hear stuff like that. Because, again, not to pick on him, just to say that it makes no sense for a lot of these black celebrities to be making all of this money, and it's not helping the greater good of all black people. It makes no sense. And why are average black people who are already having a hard enough time making ends meet to have to support people or invest in people who don't give anything back? And I'm not talking about charity. Like I said before, charity for all I care is throwing the money up in the air and hoping that everybody gets some and you're not getting nothing back. But investing in somebody is actually putting in an institution that helps people, but also you still helping yourself. And Floyd Mayweather has way more than enough money to put $20 million off to the side and do something that benefits his people, and still have money to blow in the strip club. I mean, it's completely possible. But also, I understand we can't leave it up to those people. We cannot leave it up to those people, those black people with the means to do it. You hope that they get a change of heart. You hope that they wake up. But unfortunately, if they don't, it's up to people, the Jesse Williamses of the world, who see that when you have a platform, when you have the ability to make real change and to influence other people to make real change, then that's when you really have the power. And that's why I will always say, even though Floyd Mayweather is an incredible boxer, he's never going to be at Muhammad Ali's level. He's never going to get there, because Muhammad Ali was on a level that for Floyd Mayweather psychologically does not exist to him. That higher level of Muhammad Ali's thinking, Floyd's never going to get there unless he really, really, really enlightens himself, or has people around him that's willing to enlighten him. And that just not goes for him. That goes for a lot of these black celebrities who will encourage you to go vote for the lesser of two evils in white supremacy, but won't encourage you to go out and make your voice heard on the system itself that's oppressing you, no matter who you vote for. And I'm not throwing no shade to none of the celebrities that was out there, encouraging people to go vote. Because if you are going to vote, it's not the wrong thing to do. It's not against the law. But if you're going to vote, don't feel like you vote, especially for black people. If you feel like you voting for, and I don't mean to go off topic, but because these black celebrities, and it kind of made me cringe at the part in the BET Awards when Tracy Ellis Ross was kind of like, "Welcome to the White House, Hillary Clinton," and it's like, no, don't do that. Don't influence black people to have to choose between the lesser of two evils, especially if it's very accessible for people to go find out Hillary Clinton's track record with the black community, and so as well as the Clintons and all of that. So even though the celebrities at the BET Awards was kind of like, we don't want people to vote for Trump. At the same time, you asking people to choose the lesser between two evils. So I'm just saying, even if you're not gonna vote, make your voice heard. I mean, not to get off topic, but to make it full circle back to Jesse Williams' speech, I just wanted to say that of course it's about time that somebody publicly said this, but also at the same time, it should not have to take someone of his stature for it to really mean something, for it to be real. It should really be something that black folks should kind of gain an understanding of. But I understand that on a psychological level, a lot of us can't grasp their brain around some of the things that he said, as far as like the branding and how in slavery we were branded against our will, but now we will pay for brands on ourselves and think that we're better than other black people because we have those brands. That psychologically is not healthy. That's not right up here. That has some screws loose. But we have accepted that over time after time after time again with different things, and it's gonna get to a point to where it's not gonna work anymore. And by Jesse Williams, kind of shattering that, not just for black people but also for white people, to see that unless there's a change in some form or fashion, we're either going to dismantle the system. We're not only going to dismantle the system that's oppressing us, we're going to change ours or create ours in order for this to not perpetuate and keep going on and on. And I believe that black people have the ability to do this. I totally believe it. It's just the fact that we have to. The one main obstacle is that a lot of the people who contribute to white supremacy, unfortunately, are black people. There are people I'm talking about the people who went to Harvard. I'm talking about the black people who went to Ivy League schools. I'm talking about the black people who are educated enough to know the real truth, but they choose not to fight for it because they are either in love with it or in love with, trying to be white, I guess. Kind of like the OJ effect, so to speak. That's the perfect example I can think of. The OJ effect. Just kind of want to be like white people, so you go along to get along and they won't mess with you. Or, I don't know, you just cognitive dissonance, I think, where you know the truth, but you just do the opposite. And it's just easier that way. And I just feel like for the mainstream, for the majority of black people that's out there struggling, my message to you is to don't just take Jesse Williams' speech as a trending topic, because for a lot of black people, especially people who are aware of what he's talking about, who can read in between the lines of what he's talking about and how important this message is, it's critical. It's not just entertainment, and this needs to be able to make people more conscious of the people that they're supporting, more conscious of what you're giving your money to. Because again, and I'm going to do a show about this at a later date, about our 1.2 trillion, yes with a T, trillion dollar spending power. As a collective, we spend $1.2 trillion on brands for the most part. But we as a group don't own anything, or own less than 0.5% of anything that we put that $1.2 trillion in, which is for from a psychology point, is a reflective on how our community feels about ourselves. And again, I'm just touching on some of the things that he was saying about, how branding and how we psychologically view things, how that ties into how white supremacy keeps on rolling on. And it's not just us, it's the greater society, and it's either really wake up or shut up. And I mean, I'll do shows more about stuff like this on a later date, but I really had to get that off my chest because I just don't want to see him, Jesse Williams, or anybody that tries to stand behind what he's saying to be tricked by, the mainstream media or white supremacy, wherever you want to call it, to say that by talking about this, it's just making it worse, that by talking about this, this is only just perpetuating racism. It's not. What's perpetuating racism is by not talking about it, acting like it's not happening, and just keeping on with your jolly old day. And it's not benefiting anybody. Because if you really think about it, even those black people at the top, or not even at the top, even those black people who so-called made it, they have just as much job insecurity as you or me. Because let's just say, if LeBron James, so to speak, says something that has made a similar speech that Jesse Williams made, and it really upset the shareholders of the Cavaliers, or it upset the head executives of the NBA, and they blackball him. Guess what? LeBron's asking for a job like everybody else. So it's no different from if you're a middle class or working black person and you speak out against, white supremacy, and you stand up for your people, and you get and you have just as much as risk getting fired for that than if you said anything else that they didn't like. So us and the black people who so-called made it, it's not really that much of a difference. It's just the tax bracket difference, but the job insecurity is still the same. So that should be a message to not only the black people who so-called made it, making these millions of dollars, getting endorsement deals. It's nothing wrong with making your money, but like the brother said, making the money is not going to make it go away. It's not going to make the racism go away. It's not going to make white people accept you. It's never going to make white people accept you. It's just going to make them further exploit you for what they want. Because just like Jesse Williams said earlier, just like he said in the speech, they're extracting our culture like oil. They don't like us for our skin, but they like our culture. They like that we know how to dance. They like that we can make music that hits your soul. We like that we have black actors that can cross racial and ethnic bounds and can be able to reach all people that can reach you in here. Black people have the amazing ability in anything that they do to reach you in here, where white people who try really hard to do those things, they can't. It's just the spirituality within ourselves, and they want that, but they don't want us. So you have to point that out where you see it. Just like BET in itself. That's why it's very ballsy that he said that on BET, because BET, like I said, it's not black owned. So if you think about it, BET is one of those, culprits of using black culture to extract money, and then also they're destroying, in a way, through some of their program, the psychological being of the black community, while still making money off of the things that we are good at. And so it was very ballsy of him to call that out where he saw it. And so I don't want to keep going on and on about this because, I'm a talker, which you'll know about me, but I'm telling you, the things that I say that because I really care. I feel like I believe in our people. I believe in everything that we do. I believe in anything that we can be anything that we want to be. It's just that until we reprogram our thinking and reprogram how we view ourselves and how we got here. And like he said, when we get that knowledge of self to where you know how you got here, how this really works, and you unlearn a lot of the things that you learned growing up as far as how the way of the world, that's when you will mobilize. That's when you will get an understanding that it doesn't matter what I do or how hard I work, unless I go after and stay focused after this thing here, it's never gonna all work out. And so thank you for listening to me. I appreciate you guys. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section. I love you all, and let truth prevail over anything. Peace.